If one lives to be 80 years old, a respectable amount of time on this terrestrial plane, he or she has experienced approximately 2,522,880,000 seconds. It seems like an impressive amount of time to accomplish goals, find happiness, and take a few deep dives into the meaning of existence. I have lived over half of these seconds, middle age in the common vernacular. I sit in the doctor's office, a mostly sterile box with some anatomy posters and corporate art depicting tranquil nature in calming pastels. The purpose of the visit is to discuss my recent physical, an event that took about 2,700 seconds. That estimate is not including my drive and the waiting in the lobby. The physician has not arrived yet. The room is relatively silent with the exception of murmurs on the other side of the closed door and the ticking of the large analog clock, a simple black and white contraption similar to those found in most public schools. Each tick, created by gears moving a thin rod, represent a moment of my life that is now gone, one that can never be reclaimed. The minuscule hand has traveled the circumference of the clock 20 times before the doctor arrives. Time is an interesting concept, one created by man to explain our linear progression from one event to the next. It's most commonly used to organize our obligations and schedule the routines that make up each of our own personal realities. How long will it take to get from A to B? 9 hours for work, 7 hours for sleep, about 20 to 40 minutes for meals. Then there's grocery and clothes shopping, football games, date nights, church, personal grooming, must-see movies and television, parent-teacher conferences, and 100 other repetitive tasks. And of course, there's the unexpected: car trouble, hospital visits, weddings and funerals, replacing broken items of necessity and comfort, depression naps, arguments that go in circles until the problem is resolved or the combatants are too exhausted to continue, along with many other whims of an unpredictable universe. So many seconds eaten up to simply keep the proverbial train on the tracks. I've used about 1,320,000 seconds, and with not much to show for it. Yes, there has been joy and jubilation. I have overcome obstacles and created instances of significance and meaning for myself and others around me. I've celebrated and loved and laughed among friends. These were all moments that were well used, but I only recall pieces of these occurrences. Some of these important seconds slip away like water trickling through a cupped hand with fingers pressing tightly together in desperation to retain their once bountiful content. Was I a happy baby, a cheerful toddler, a satisfied adolescent? Does it matter? Not to me, not if I can't remember. How many years have been lost to that inefficient organ in my head? How many seconds would that be? The doctor, a woman who's accumulated far less seconds than I, tells me I'm overweight and I need to lose 35 pounds. 1 pound a week would be ideal. I've wasted too many seconds gorging on foods and snacks with tastes I can't mentally reproduce because the brain does not work that way. She prescribes an hour of aerobic exercise per day, 25,200 more moments to be occupied. I also have to be more careful with regards to what I eat, check labels more thoroughly, drive further to supermarkets that offer more natural selections. This information is given in a calm voice, but reinforced with powerful, commanding, cerulean eyes. She acknowledges that it will be challenging, but stresses that these changes are essential to living a long and productive life. I'll have to take her word for that and do the math later. Time definitively spent versus time theoretically gained. Another factor one must consider when addressing how many seconds have been positively utilized is the instances in the present that can corrupt previously wonderful occasions. A bad breakup can transform a blissful vacation and romantic excursions into a series of bitter regrets. A close friend's death can taint youthful adventures with a tinge of melancholy. And then there are just those terrible catastrophes, epic failures, missed opportunities, and emotional crises that consume time while they're happening and continue to plague the mind through obsessive deconstruction and reevaluation well after the initial miserable incident has passed. Why is it that pleasant circumstances fade and blur while tragic affairs are distinctly burned into our consciousness? The conversation with the physician ends with talk of fatty liver, high cholesterol, and metabolic syndrome, a precursor to diabetes, all conditions of which I display signs that are correctable through consistent physical activity and a proper diet. I promise to follow her instructions. She wants to see me again in 3 months to check my progress, giving me less than 8 million seconds to improve my physical condition. On the drive home, a 100,000 second detour, I begin pondering my own mortality. I envy the religious who believe that once they expend all of their earthly moments, they'll be granted eternity in paradise. I'd like to think that might be true, but it's such a bizarre way to divide time. A handful of decades followed by the infinite. I decide to start journaling again. It'll cost me more precious minutes, but helps me recollect some of the more beautiful episodes of my existence. Stories worthy of remembrance, blended with ideas and personal philosophies. Perhaps I'll even share my observations with others if they're interested in a listen. In such cases, I hope they enjoy what they hear. I would hate to waste anyone's valuable seconds. Thank you.